activist judges across this country.
Madam
We have
Secretary,
activist judges that we will
the,
continue to appeal. And then when it gets to the highest court and we get a decision, it is proven that
I
we
wanna
are
reclaim
right,
my
and
time
that we
here.
have been compliant. I will also say, you
Ma-
talk
Madam-
about
Madam
deporting of
Secretary, let
US
me-
You want me to answer your questions or not?
I do, but let me, you haven't been telling us the truth. Look, there have been at least 170 known cases of citizens being arrested or detained by federal immigration agents this year alone. This is the truth. Are you lying to the American people right now by denying these reports?
When we are doing our targeted enforcement operations against criminal illegal aliens, individuals that are in that area may be detained until we verify who they are, and then they are released. This has been done for years, and every single law enforcement operation that has always happened, we follow the same protocols, and we continue to do that. We have never once detained or deported an American citizen. We have not held them
Not
and
true.
charged them. When we find out
Not
and
true.
verify their identity, then that is when they are released. You also asked about ICE agents going far enough. Sir, I will tell you that every single ICE agent, CBP agent, federal law enforcement officer that's out there doing their work every day, none of them will rest until our communities are safe. None of them will rest until
Secretary
terrorists,
Noem, it
criminals
is a fact that
off
you
of our
ignored federal
streets,
orders.
and our children and our grandchildren can grow
Let
up
me
in a
reclaim
country
my
that
time
truly
here,
is
please.
safe.
Let me reclaim. Secretary Noem, it is a fact that you ignored federal court orders in March and in May of this year. Do you plan on ignoring more federal orders?
We
I'm
always
sick,
comply with all federal
sick
court
of your
orders.
lies. And the American people demand the
Because
truth.
you keep saying it doesn't make it true.
I am sick of your lies. The American people are sick of these lies. American people demand truth.
America is very happy that finally they have a president in the White House that gets up every day to keep them safe.
Madam Secretary, your incompetence and your inability to truthfully carry out your duties of Secretary of Homeland Security, if you're not fired, will you resign?
Sir, I will consider your asking me to resign as an endorsement of my work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, for holding this hearing today. The greatest threat to the homeland right now is a Department of Homeland Security that the American people no longer trust, a department actively undermined by its own secretary. This is on you, Secretary Noem. Today's hearing is supposed to be about worldwide threats, but Madam Secretary, under your watch, the threat is coming from inside the building. Because when DHS, the department charged with keeping Americans safe, is caught breaking the law, lying to the American public, systematically dismantling oversight, fueling bigotry, and targeting vulnerable communities, trust is broken. Let's start with the basics. How can we trust your department with you at the helm? The American people deserve an answer, even if you've spent the past year dodging accountability like it's your full-time job. We need to talk about oversight. Oversight is not optional. It is not a courtesy because you feel like it. It is not something you entertain only when it's politically convenient to you. Yet, time and time again, Secretary Noem, you have treated congressional oversight as an inconvenience at best, and at worst, something to be invaded, ignored, or denied altogether. Republicans on this committee may be willing to hand over their constitutional duty in order to kiss this administration's butt cheeks, but I am not. I will never. My district is not, and the American people sure aren't. While Republicans turned this hearing into a praise fest for your failed tenure, communities across America, including mine in New Jersey, are made less safe because DHS under your leadership has become unproductive and malicious. All of the thank you that we keep hearing from across the aisle, there's no thank you from me. And we see the truth that you're trying to hide. The truth is you are deeply unqualified for the post you hold. This is on full display in the way you treat the people in this body, myself included, who have been elected to serve our communities and keep them safe. Representative Grajava, Senator Padilla, myself and others whose character, integrity, and bodies were attacked by your department without evidence and without apology. Far beyond being disrespectful, you have shown a complete disregard for the oversight authority granted to us by law. You have repeatedly shown that you will target whoever you want, whenever you want, without accountability. members of Congress, members of our communities, and even American citizens, as many of my colleagues have continued to point out today. Secretary Noem, that's not leadership. That's not democracy. And that is not how this works. Again, this is not just about you. Don't want you to think this is just a pick on you day. This is about the Trump administration that has turned DHS into a political weapon. So I'll ask you this. Is Trump embarrassed by your tenure, or is this exactly the kind of god-awful leadership he wants at DHS? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we've already conducted more.
Good morning, y'all. I can't hear. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday, besties. We back at this bullshit, child. Everything is still how you talking to her? I mean, yeah, she works for Donald Trump. How the hell she know how Donald Trump feel? And just say that she really does. Just say that he's sitting somewhere saying, F all these on my first. You think she really gonna sit there and tell them that? Child, you should have seen the dude that was just on before this black lady was on. Child, this is just a humiliation ritual as far as I'm concerned, because child, they ain't gonna get to nothing. All they doing is throwing insults, and then she's supposed to answer back. Child, I could never do this. This is why I could never do this, because child, I'd be like, fuck all y'all, and then I go to hell out. It's not Sunday. Lord's gonna forgive me. I will ask for repentance on Sunday, okay? Because these people are crazy. So these are the hearings, even though we still I'm gonna go over the interview that she had with Jake Tapper yesterday on the Sunday show. Whatever his show was called, and take a look at that and see what they got to say. But this here, liberal white woman, oh, you can't see. Oh, hold on. Liberal white woman. Let's see what she got to say, child.
Comments that I hope you'll take back to the secretary and to the department. If there's anything that is clear about what is going on in this country,
what
is that the rhetoric and fear that is happening is at an all-time escalated high. And we're all describing different aspects of it. Fear of law enforcement, fear of citizens, fear of people who are legally in this country, because it's the rhetoric that is happening from the very top that is being decimated down level, and that is really, really dangerous. And one of the things that the secretary said was she is restoring the rule of law. That is absolutely not true, because the rule of law is founded on two fundamental principles: that if you are going to be subject to a criminal arrest in this country, that there is probable cause to do so. You can't just snatch somebody walking into a coffee shop because of the color of their skin. There's no probable cause for that. And also that you will get due process. And that is not happening. And so what you're seeing is an overwhelming frustration of the American people in this country, that the lack of respect and regard for the rule of law by this administration, and in particular by this secretary, is at a level that we have never seen, and violates all of the constitutional norms and all of the principles of legal fairness in this country. And you're seeing that manifest itself in threats to law enforcement and bubbling over, because people are frustrated, and they are channeling that frustration because the administration is not listening and is only doubling down on the rhetoric. You know, this notion that I think my colleagues highlighted, that we're only going to pursue serious threats. It's just not true. I visited an ICE facility outside of Dallas, and over 70% of them were classified as the lowest threat level, as never having a criminal record at all. But yet they were there because of the color of their skin. There was not a probable cause. They're not a threat to this country. They have no criminal history at all. I fully support, as does everyone on this committee, Homeland Security focusing on threats to our national security. We want cybersecurity. We want terroristic threats from abroad to be stopped. Absolutely. None of us want a recreation of 9/11, but we also do not want, under any level, the trampling of our constitutional rights and the legal system of due process. We had.
Do illegal people get the right and the benefits of the Constitution and due process? Because I feel like that's what she's saying right now. Child, this will happen when you have liberal white women running off at damn mouth. And these people will talk. And then as soon as Kristi start talking, they want to interrupt her. This is a humiliation ritual. This is not me taking up for either side. This is me like, well, not JB, but yeah. So you're saying the same thing, but whoever said all these politicians are just being politicians, which is basically what this is. So they're going to try to act like they're so wonderful above everybody else. She giving out the same rhetoric right now. The Constitution, equality, bitch, they are illegal. They don't get that benefit. So F us, right? So just us, okay. So give them rights to illegals. And then I hate what I hate the most is when they say the American people. Child, when was the last time you seen any of these MFers come out and talk to none of us, Bueller? When was the last time that you seen any of these MFers come out and actually talk to us to be able to say, this is what the American people want? I hate that. They are assuming. They are assuming. If you don't like it, leave. It's that simple. You must be liberal. If you sit around someplace that you don't like just to say dumb shit and look dumb, then you're the problem. This is probably your mom. Child, if y'all don't go get your mom and tell her to go to hell along with that girl right next to her.
That was inappropriate. And these efforts are breaking down the trust of the American people. I hope you take these concerns back because they need to be addressed if we're going to address the violence in this country. I yield back.
Madam Secretary, how many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Sejun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our
And
laws.
can you please
And
tell
knows
Mr.
that our
Park
laws
why
are
you
important
deported
and
him?
every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD, many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. Will you have broad authority, by the way, as Secretary, to issue humanitarian parole, to do deferred action. Will you commit to at least looking at Mr. Park's case to see if you can help him find a pathway back to this country that he sacrificed so much for?
I will absolutely look at his case, but I want you
Thank
to
you.
remember that
Madam
our
Secretary, the
programs
man
need to have
behind
equity.
you, please stand up, sir. His name is Jim Brown from Troy, Missouri.
Like, does she have to do this? Because I'm telling you, I'd have been left this shit. This is just a humiliation ritual. They're not here. And idiots that are in this chat right now will think that these people are really doing something. They are they're as much of a problem as everybody else is. Because all they're doing is trying to act like, you. That's all they doing. They won't even let her talk. They keep interrupting her, but they keep saying stupid shit that's got nothing to do with, will you look at this man? Child, what do you want her to get down on her knees? These will be the same people talking about 100%. Nothing is 100%, but they won't sit up here and acknowledge, like, what are the percentages of the people that were taken out of here, not deceased, taken out of here in error compared to the ones that they got correct? Let's look at that. There's always going to be mistakes. So to sit up here and try to act like she's doing something wrong, and I don't know that she is or not. Yeah, I think what she said when this crap first happened was inappropriate because she didn't have any details to be able to be saying that. But these assholes ain't better. Listen to them. This is what I'm saying. Listen to them. They just want to talk and then talk down, which results nothing. But some of y'all will support that like they doing something.
Alejandro Barranco, the United States Marine veteran who is behind you, who also has two brothers who are United States Marines. Will you thank Lance Corporal Barranco for his service?
Thank you for your service.
So they just want her to just sit here and do whatever they say. Will you thank this man? Will you turn around and thank this man? Will you turn around and kiss my ass?
Last spring, while he was mowing the lawn at an IHOP, ICE agents tackled him in the street and imprisoned him for weeks. A peaceful, hard-working man who raised 3 sons to be United States Marines. We need men of that character in this country. Again, as secretary, you have broad discretion. Will you consider Lance Corporal Barranco's father for parole in place to stay in our country, owing to the fact that he has contributed to our country by raising 3 United States Marines?
This is an opportunity to remind everybody that every person that's in this country illegally has an opportunity to voluntarily go home
Oh.
and come back the right way.
Wow.
He
Follow
raised
our
3
laws,
United
and
States
we will
Marines
facilitate that.
Oh, wow. He don't like what she's saying? Interrupt.
for 30 years. You have discretion. You are choosing not to use it. Madam Secretary, you promised America that you would go after the worst of the worst. But these people are not the worst of the worst. A Purple Heart recipient, a military spouse, the father of 3 Marines. And it's not just veterans and military families. You are locking up and deporting children with cancer, mothers with babies in the NICU, United States citizens. There are many problems with your leadership, but the biggest problem is this. You don't seem to know how to tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. Go after the bad guys.
Now we got to be talking about the one-off. Somebody happened to be in the hospital. Somebody happened to have a baby. That's not the damn norm, but that's what they want to go. Because this is what politicians do. Go after the small percentage of shit to try to make it huge instead of seeing what the majority is. And you dumbasses that are in here saying this shit is okay are the problem because these are your people. So you want to go ahead and this is your side. Let me say it like that. That's your side. So you think it's okay. Okay. It makes no sense whatsoever. And again, this is a humiliation ritual because they're not trying to resolve anything, solve anything. They just want her to just be embarrassed.
The domestic terrorist organization, Antifa. That's our primary concern right now.
All right, that's what President Trump did. What does the FBI say?
We share the same view. When you look at the data right now, you look at the domestic terrorist threat that we're facing. Right now, what I see from my position is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
So where is Antifa headquartered?
What we're doing right now with the organization,
Where in the United States does Antifa exist? If it's a terrorist organization and you've identified it as number 1.
we are building out the infrastructure right now.
So what does that mean?
It means it's being built.
We trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than Al Qaeda and ISIS.
No, I don't want you. I'm asked one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the number 1 domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
So you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove. I know you wouldn't do that.
Child, he should have some data. If he knew this was going to be a question, he should have some data.
Gentleman from NCTC referenced the unfortunate accident that occurred with National Guardsmen being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
It was a terrorist attack.
Wait. Look, I'll get it straight. then you can
He shot our
respond.
National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question? It was an unfortunate situation, but you blamed it solely on Joe Biden. I want you to know who approved the asylum application for this same person.
Mr. Thompson, this individual that
No,
came
no,
into the country.
No, I want to know who approved.
Congressman Thompson, I want
No,
you to
no,
understand,
no,
when this individual came
no,
into the
I'm not-
country,
I'm
he
not
came
gonna let you-
under
I'm not going to
an
let you.
evacuation of Afghanistan under Operation Allies Welcome, was thoroughly vetted by the Biden administration at that point in time, allowed into our country, and then was never followed up. I want to remind
Reclaim
everybody
my
in
time.
Congress.
Reclaim my
we-
time.
We follow the law, and every asylum is supposed to have a check-in every single year, and the Biden administration failed to do that. They vetted this individual, allowed them into our country, and did not do due
Witness will allow the gentleman to ask his question.
Yes or no? Who approved the asylum claim?
The application on the asylum was thoroughly filled out by information that was gathered by the Biden administration.
So the
His
Biden
asylum-
administration approved the
The
asylum.
asylum application was put into place under the rules established by the
no.
Biden administration.
Reclaiming my time. I don't want to file perjury charges against you, but I'm of the opinion that the Trump administration, DHS, your DHS, approved the asylum application.
The asylum application moved forward under all of the information and vetting processes that were put in place under the Biden administration, which is when vetting happened. And that's what President Trump has changed. Under President Trump's
Reclaim
administration,
my time again.
when
It's obvious you don't want to answer the question. Mr. Kent, you want a shot at it?
The individual was vetted to serve as a soldier in Afghanistan, and that vetting standard was used by the Biden administration as a ruse to bring him here. Had we followed the standard operating procedures for special immigrant visas,
Reclaim my time.
that individual
No,
and none of the allies welcome
no.
people would have come to America. That's on Joe Biden.
Gentleman's
Just
time has
answer the
expired.
That was the answer.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. That was a murder that took place in DC. It was not an unfortunate incident. And those comments are effing disrespectful.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I agree with my colleague from Texas. It is a tale of two cities.
Do y'all know what they're talking about? Because I don't even know what the heck it is that they're talking about with regard to that. But let me move on to let's see real briefly what's going on right now as far as protests are concerned. Because child, that is the word of the year in 2026.
Are you on this?
This afternoon at
A lot of y'all should be happy. It's CNN, okay? You happy? It's CNN.
to push a group of protesters who were throwing snowballs at law enforcement vehicles. Some were trying to block cars from leaving the facility. Let's bring in CNN's Omar Jimenez, who you just saw in that clip there. Omar, you were obviously at that facility. You've now moved to a protest there. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so right now we're at the site of where Renee Good was shot and killed. And really this has become a place to reflect, a place for protest at times, a place for chants, really a place to remember Renee Good, even days removed from this particular shooting. But as you can see, there are chants that break out at times, protesting against federal immigration enforcement being here in the city of Minneapolis. And as cars come through, there are oftentimes they're beeping in support of these protesters, but it really has been a day of protests here in Minneapolis. Earlier, we were tracking a protest that was by the thousands, starting out of one of the major parks here in the Minneapolis area as they marched through the city. That was one that was pre-planned, but on a day like this, where I know you probably can't feel it through the TV, but it is definitely the coldest day it has been since this particular shooting. That did not sway and did not seem to sway, I should say, anybody that came out, because it truly was a large turnout. And then over at this federal building that is miles from where I'm standing.
This looks like it's from last night.
That has been the scene of a little bit more tense, confrontational protests. And the reason for that is we typically see federal law enforcement there forming a line at the perimeter of that complex, and then protesters face off with them there, yelling things at them, sometimes throwing snowballs at them, and as their vehicles pull out of the complex or into the complex, they'll throw snowballs or yell or taunt at them. And so that will then prompt law enforcement to push out into the crowd at times. You showed some of the footage a little bit earlier. That might be a flashbang. That might be firing pepper.
This is what's currently going on. Back to being outside making a bunch of noise. Shout out to Mr. Too Fresh. I appreciate you, hun. He said, this is how they ask questions, Messy. High school games. Are you gay? No. Do your mother know you're gay? No, you're stuck because either questions make you look bad. That's why I said humiliation ritual. They're really not trying to get to the heart of anything. It's just to placate and pander to the same people that they're all causing the problem. Somebody should have came out by now and said, you know what? Everybody need to calm the F down. Everybody need to calm the F down. Has anybody done that yet, Bueller? Has anybody done that yet? I ain't heard nobody say it's time for everyone to just calm the F down. That would be agents. That would be protesters. That would be Timmy, Jake, what's the Minnesota's AG's name that is under investigation, child? Or Trump and JD, all of them had to charge it up. What are the people I want to run up on? Liberal white women. Do y'all not have to go to work today? Liberal white women and low testosterone men, do y'all not have to go to work today? I don't, but I'm just saying for y'all. You hear these women in the background, allegedly women, just screaming and screeching, probably losing all parts of their voice. Well, one second they got a good beat, and the next second they don't. Somebody said these are white supremacists. I heard that through all the banging. I'm trying to decipher what they're saying. You are going to go to prison for treason. Just repeating what they say in case you didn't hear it. Shade! Shade! In case y'all didn't hear, shout out to MTR. What does your mother think? Uh-oh, there he is. Uh-oh. Oh, no. That's crazy. Peaceful protesting? Timmy, you ain't got nothing to say. Jakey, you ain't got nothing to say. Shout out to Night Jade. She said, thank you, boo. Every time I see these women, I think my husband would literally red rum me if I did any of this nonsense. Heck no with my kids. What the F? Child, ditto. Child, I know liberal women don't want to hear this. They wouldn't allow us to. Not that we would even do it, they wouldn't allow us to. But, you know, people who want to be strong and independent and feminist, these are the things they waste their time with. I'm going to just leave it at that. Let me tell you right now, Nigel, if I went and I said, I want to go out there and protest, he'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it probably would just look at me first like I was crazy and then roll his eyes and go back to watching TV. I promise you. I'm getting the beat of the siren more so than the drum. A bunch of women. A bunch of women. Seriously? Come on now. Shout out to Trey. Thank you, boo. He said, hey, Messi, you notice it's not a color in sight screaming racism. I wasn't going to say it, y'all. I wasn't going to say it. But I'm sure somebody will come through and say it at some point. I think this happened yesterday. Okay. I'm watching this on, what channel is this? What is this channel? Hook Global. Hook Global. They're running this feed 24 hours a day. Thank you, boo. Shout out to Uncle Rick. I appreciate you. He said dummies. Every single one of them. She ain't sharing that million with none of y'all. 1.5. Don't forget the 0.5, child. Don't forget the 0.5. Okay. Don't worry. Oh.
a piece of paper that they're pulling off of the cab in their car.
Yeah, because you can tell from right over here. This is insane.
I don't even think it's a war.
Yeah, it's not.
Remember not to sign any papers without having a lawyer.
From the district court.
From the Department of Homeland
Hold on. I think get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. Are you afraid? You should be.
Are you afraid? You should be. F you! All right, that's enough of this noise, child. Let me see what else is going on, child, because they're getting on my nerves. Can we look at some other news before we get back into this because of the U-Haul thing, which I think is important. So yesterday or last night or sometime, shout out to Reaper for letting me know, and of course StreamYard is StreamYarding, that a U-Haul ran into some protesters down in LA, but not because of this, because of Iran, I think. Iran. Good morning, Kofa. I appreciate you, boo. He said, imagine the neighbors that don't want nothing to do with this. That's what I was thinking. Can't even smoke a cigar in peace. I'd be mad AF. You already have to worry about the planes. Imagine having to then turn around and worry about this. I was thinking the exact same thing. Bringing property values down all over the place, child. Anyway, let's hear what they have to say through KTLA.
Tensions flare in Westwood today, where thousands of protesters lined the city streets. Those protesters are calling for a regime change in Iran after hundreds of Iranians were killed by their own government during recent protests in that country. Here at home, an apparent supporter of the current Iranian regime drove a U-Haul truck through the crowded streets in Westwood, nearly crushing children and others who were protesting the violence in Iran. Meanwhile, Iran remains under a widespread internet blackout imposed by their government in response to large-scale protests across the country. KTLA5's Carlos Salcedo is live for us in Westwood with more on this story. Hi, Carlos.
Hey, ladies, definitely some scary moments for protesters near the federal building here in Westwood. The driver of a U-Haul truck plowed into a crowd of demonstrators, injuring one of those protesters. And tonight, that driver, he's in police custody.
Good.
Terrifying moments after the driver of this U-Haul plows through demonstrators near the federal building in Westwood, striking one person. The incident happened around 3:30 Sunday afternoon as more than 2,000 protesters had gathered to march in solidarity with the people of Iran.
I looked at my daughter and I said, this truck is going to explode any minute.
Thais Aliabadi was marching with her teen daughter when she noticed a truck covered with banners she says were in support of the Iranian regime. While some in the crowd started confronting the driver, even shattering windows, that's when he hit the accelerator.
Johnny, where did he think he was going to go? You wasn't getting away any daggone way, you jackass. But add self-hating black woman to my list of names, child. Just add self-hating black woman, because typically it's always black people that give me the hardest time, child. Used to it. Say something new, child. Say something new. Anyway, come on, child.
Explode any minute.
Thais Aliabadi was marching with her teen daughter when she noticed a truck covered with banners she says were in support of the Iranian regime. While some in the crowd started confronting the driver, even shattering windows, that's when he hit the accelerator.
And almost hit a 12-year-old who was 2 feet away from me. And as soon as I saw that, I pulled my daughter to the side.
I'm sure all you people that are loving the protest over there in all the other states about the ICE situation, do you love this too? Is this okay? Is this acceptable?
And I started hitting the side of the car, and there was a gentleman in there with a brown hat, and he looked very aggressive.
Pandemonium erupted shortly.
Add disgrace to the list. Yeah, add disgraceful to the list. Y'all are very good at calling names. I'm just trying to understand why you think I give a fuck. Welcome to the show. Thank you for the views. Everyone, please hit the like button for me. Dislike button, because you're here watching anyway, because that's how your mind works. You think you're going to do something. You think that you're going to do something that's going to make a difference in my thought process just because it's not the same. This is what liberals do. If you don't follow them 1,000%, they start to hurl insults and think that that's going to make a difference, child. This is what they are. I'ma tell you. I'ma tell you. You're not going to tell me. I'ma tell you. I'ma tell you. You heard what I said? Because I'ma tell you. You're not going to tell me. I'ma tell you. And yes, this is exactly a mic that you would buy a child or someone who wants to do karaoke, because at times we do karaoke over here. I know other people will be like, oh, you're such a kid. That's okay. That's okay. You don't know. Shout out to y'all for still watching though.
Shortly after, LAPD officers seen surrounding the truck trying to calm the public.
Initially, we didn't know what was going on with the suspect in the vehicle. However, the vehicle was cleared, so we didn't have the bomb squad respond. There was nothing suspicious in the truck.
The driver was detained for assault with a deadly weapon. The marcher who was struck sustained minor injuries, declining medical treatment on scene.
47 years of suppression is bad.
Iranians in LA are condemning the deadly crackdown from the Tehran government against its own people. The protests have entered a third week, spreading across 100 cities, triggered by crippling economic conditions. There are reports that more than 500 people have been killed, challenging Iran's theocracy. The country resorted to an internet blackout in an effort to stamp out protests.
I'm here because their internet's disconnected, and we're here to make sure that everyone in the world hears that and they know what's going on.
Iran's supreme leader has blamed the United States for inciting the protests. President Trump has threatened to attack Iran if security forces turn violent.
Unless we get rid of this terrorist regime in Iran, there's not going to be peace around the world.
Again,
I wonder if you liberals want him to go in. I don't know. Y'all want him to go in there because y'all mad that he went into Venezuela? Or do y'all want him to go into Tehran, or are you upset about that too, Bueller? I'm just trying to understand. Do y'all even understand, or y'all just out here just upset based off of what somebody says? I'm just asking a question. Y'all, since you're here, you might as well answer the questions. Stop with your insults, but I know that's what y'all like. I know that y'all's lame. Can absolutely do nothing but go out here and make noise and toss insults. That really resolves the problem, which is the same way that hearing was doing. But moving on, child, moving on. Let me see. Protesters attacked the driver after truck speeds through Iran demonstration in Los Angeles.
This morning, President Trump says Iranian leaders may want diplomacy as the U.S. escalates threats against Iran's government.
Well, they want to negotiate. I think they're tired of being beat up by the United States.
I thought we weren't supposed to be making any wars, though, child. What happened to that, Trump? I thought there was going to be no more wars, sir.
A meeting is being set up, but we may have to act because of what's happening.
It comes as President Trump considers possible military action in Iran, with a human rights group now claiming more than 500 people have been killed during a government crackdown on protesters.
We have evidence of military-grade weapons being deployed on individuals protesting in the streets, and this is absolutely unacceptable.
The crowds are angry over the state of the economy and record-high food and gas prices. The anger on the streets in Iran spreading to major cities around the world. And in Los Angeles, a man is in custody after driving this U-Haul into a crowd protesting the Iranian government.
Honestly, this is the kind of foolishness that you do have to be worried about when you do go to protests, right? Because there's always going to be crazies crazying. There's always going to be crazies crazying. That's why I'm like, why would you take your kids? And where are you going if you have kids that you have to attend to? I mean, child, your choice.
Video shows the chaos as the truck moves through the protesters. The truck bearing signs reading, "No Sean, no regime. USA, don't repeat 1953. The crowd eventually pulling the driver out and attacking him before law enforcement took him into custody. Meanwhile, Iran has already threatened to target American and Israeli military bases if the U.S. intervenes. A U.S. official says the president has been briefed on a range of options for military strikes. There will be a meeting tomorrow to discuss a possible response.
Of course, tomorrow is tomorrow. So this is from today. But over here, it does say on ABC, at least 538 people killed in anti-government Iran protests, the activists say. This is from last night.
And in tonight's deep dive, those massive protests in Iran turning violent. Human rights and activist groups say more than 500 people are dead, and more than 10,000 have been arrested amid the government's crackdown on people who are taking to the streets and demanding regime change in the Islamic country. My next guests are a couple who were political prisoners in Iran. Both of them were accused of espionage and wrongfully imprisoned by the current regime in 2014. Yegi Rezaneh was released more than a year before her husband, Jason, who spent more than 500 days in captivity before he was released in 2016. Joining me now, the directors of press freedom initiatives at the Washington Post, Jason Rezaian, and Iranian-American journalist, Yevgeny Rezaian. Thank you for both being here. Now, you are both journalists who covered Iran, and Yegi, you grew up there. What's your reaction to how massive the protests have become and the government's violent response to them?
First of all, thank you so much for having us and be willing to listen to the voice of the people who has been cut off, but we're trying to be their voice as much as possible. Yes, I grew up there. We witnessed very similar violence and brutality by this regime in 2009. We have seen it over and over again in 2017, 2018, 2019. If you remember, in 2020, they shut down their own passenger airplane, the Ukrainian passenger airplane, with over 176 innocent Iranians over the plane. In 2022, if you remember, there were mass nationwide protests, which is is now known as Women Life Freedom Movement. So this is not, unfortunately, new. Iranian people have been done by this regime, and this regime has done nothing to meet very basic needs of the Iranian people, whether economic or social freedoms. And this is the loudest message that Iranian people are sending to the regime and to the outside world, showing that they don't want this regime anymore. And obviously, every single time that they come out and exercise their freedom of expression, which has been taken away from them for over 47 years, they are being faced by live bullets and military ammunition.
Now, Jason, Iran's exiled crown prince, who is living here in the United States, posted on social media today calling on protesters not to leave the streets and writing, "I know that I will soon be by your side." What do we know about him, and is he a credible opposition figure?
Well, we know quite a bit about him. He's been living here in the United States, just outside of Washington, D.C., for much of the last 40 years. He has a clear presence on social media, and a lot of people in the country are nostalgic for the reign of his father and grandfather. But the simple reality is that he hasn't led any movement or people or organizations that I'm aware of in all of these years. So I think, first and foremost, we have to listen to the demands of the Iranian people. They are clear and present in the streets with or without him calling them to the streets. And if you were to ask me, if I had to guess or put money on it, whoever's going to lead Iran after the fall of the Islamic Republic, whenever that happens, is in Iran right now.
Now, Yegi, President Trump has also posted support for the people protesting the regime and warned of potential U.S. intervention in Iran. What do you make of that?
Well, the truth is that Iranian people are such proud, strong people. Asking for a foreign intervention is the last thing we want. But also, on the other hand, this regime has proven so brutal. And the truth is, there's a little bit of difference between Iranian people and what exists in the U.S. Iranian people are not weaponized. They don't have guns. They don't have any other way of showing up. They have to show up to the streets empty-handed. They have no way of defending themselves or their loved ones. And just by put out fires or putting up fires or things like that.
Child, did she say she wanted to help or not? I feel like she's running off at the mouth, child. All right, that's enough. So y'all know what's going on. That's what happened in LA last night. All right, shout out to Reaper for letting me know about that story. What's going on in New York? Thousands of New York City nurses are on strike at major hospitals. Why?
Nurses are on strike in New York City. The nurses failed to reach a deal during contract talks over the weekend. Christina Fan is live outside Mount Sinai on the west side, where the number of nurses joining the picket line is growing this morning. Christina.
Who's in New York? Who's on the ground in New York?
Cindy, good morning. We're currently standing in the middle of a crowd of about 300 nurses who are protesting at Mount Sinai West. This is just a very small sliver of nearly 15,000 nurses across 5 privately run major hospitals who walked off the job this morning. The size of this strike prompted New York Governor Kathy Hochul to declare a state of emergency, worried the strike could jeopardize the lives of thousands of patients. The key issue—
Oh, no. What is going on in New York?
—the two sides can agree on include safe staffing for patients, healthcare benefits, protection from workplace violence, and wage increases. The impacted hospitals are Mount Sinai Hospital, Mount Sinai Morningside, Mount Sinai West, Montefiore, and New York Presbyterian. Both sides bargained through the weekend, but were unable to come to an agreement. Montefiore called some of the nurses' demands reckless and irresponsible. Mount Sinai said it continues to bargain in good faith, while New York Presbyterian called the union's demands unrealistic. Nurses striking here at Mount Sinai say the most critical issue for them is a hospital cutting back on their health care benefits.
For me personally, it's going to be our health care. I have been here for 2 years, and I've made such great bonds with the nurses here. And I know that there are nurses who have battled cancer and depend on their health care. So we need to make sure that the health care that we receive stays intact because their lives depend on it. We love our jobs, and striking is a last resort.
Mayor Mamdani acknowledged the situation Sunday evening, posting a message on X that read in part, "No New Yorker should have to fear losing access to health care, and no nurse should be asked to accept less pay, fewer benefits, or less dignity for doing life-saving work." Again, right here in front of Mount Sinai West, you can hear all these nurses. There are hundreds of them out. They walk off the job at 7 a.m. They say they will be here until 7 p.m. every day until a deal is reached. We also know that a separate crowd of nurses plan on rallying in front of New York Presbyterian. They're holding a press conference there at 10 a.m. with the latest updates on this strike. We're now reporting on the west side. Christina Fan, CBS News, New York.
Christina, thank you. Our team coverage continues at Montefiore Hospital in the Bronx, where nurses hit the picket line just about an hour ago. Aziza Schuler has been live there for us all morning. She has more details on the strike and how it could impact patient care. Aziza.
Good morning, Cindy. Well, groups of nurses have been walking off the jobs and out of the doors here at Montefiore Medical Center on 210th Street in the Bronx. Many of them are lined up on the picket line. They're gathered on both sides of the entrance. Most are wearing red berets, holding signs and chanting. Montefiore says it is planning for what could be a multi-week strike. I want to bring in one of the registered nurses here at Montefiore Medical Center. You've been here for 4 years.
I'm gonna have to do that afterwards. I can't do it right now. I've been trying, but I'll handle that. Thank you, though. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. I appreciate you. Shout out to all the mods. Thank you for everything that you do. Everyone, hit the like button for me. Subscribe if you are new. Who's in New York? Why are they striking, child? No, they need more money. Don't we all?
About what your message is to your patients who are watching you all today.
Our message to our patients is very clear. We're out here, we're fighting for better conditions inside the hospital so that when you come and get the care that you need, you get the best care that you deserve. More importantly, if you're in need of care, we want to make sure that you come to your closest hospital. Hospitals are open, you will receive care. So that's that we're really want to enforce to you guys. So please come and get the care that you need.
And there are approximately 1,000 or so nurses out here today, some of them marching around the entire hospital. How is this protest or strike, if you will, expected to grow throughout the day?
Yeah, so much similar to how you do shifts in the hospital, we've asked nurses to come out and pick up a shift on the picket line. You know, every hour counts. We're asking for 4-hour shifts at a time so that the entire day is covered on the picket line.
Thank you so much, Roxana. And they also have travel nurses who are being bussed in to cover these shifts for the nurses while they are out on the picket line. From what I hear, they have short-term contracts that they will be on until these nurses return to the job and come to an agreement. So health officials and state officials are urging patients to continue with their scheduled appointments, and the emergency rooms remain open here at Montefiore Medical Center, as well as all of the hospitals that are being affected by this strike. We're live outside of Montefiore Medical Center in the Bronx. This is Lisa Schuler, CBS News, New York.
All right, shout out to the Bronx. So you're saying one person is saying that they're not paying you, they're not treating you right. I know that nurses do a lot. I know they do. My daughter is a nurse as well, but it's like I know y'all get shit stuff to do. I know y'all get shit stuff to do. But I thought, depending on what level you were, that you could make more money. So if you're a CNA, you're obviously not going to make as much as an LPN, who's not going to make as much as an RN, right? Ain't that how it goes? So after you become an RN, what do you do? Become a doctor, or are you a higher nurse? I don't know. I don't know much about nurses, but I do know that you need some damn nurses up in this hospital, because most of the time doctors ain't even there. Child, the doctor is home waiting for you to call to say time to have the baby, which is really the only time I've ever been in the hospital. Time to have the baby, bring your ass. And then they come an hour later. Don't call me until she's 9 centimeters dilated. They home or on vacation. I'm just saying. Anyway. All right. Well, we got to see what's going on with the nurses, because I don't think that people are like paying attention to anything else other than this stuff right here, or the Minnesota stuff. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we brought this up. Let me go over here to BCP, of course, because, no. Let me tell you this first, then I'll go to BCP in case y'all didn't know. Over in Portland, a police officer has been reassigned after comments on the Minnesota shooting. So this is what I've been saying about so it's Monday today. This is as of 14 hours ago. So that's what I'm saying. All these people that are out here, they, protesting, they run off at the mouth, they wild and they acting crazy. In the name of what? At the end of the day, for them, I'm not really sure. Do your thing though, right? So when your companies see you out here, your jobs who are already looking for reasons to get rid of people, okay? And then they give you this, you don't work here no more. Just say some of these people called out from work, because a lot of us has been asking, do these people work? So if they go and are out here wild and say they called into work sick, and then they job see them, now what y'all think about to happen? Now, what do y'all think about to happen? Then it will be, it's, misogyny, patriarchy, racism, homophobicism, any ism or obic is what it will be.
A Portland police officer at Portland protests reassigned after making comments about the Minneapolis shooting death. Tonight, reaction from Portland's police chief and the mayor. Welcome to Coin 6 News. I'm Lisa Balick. That police officer being reassigned after a social media video captured him making comments about the Minneapolis shooting, how he would perhaps have responded if he was there at the time. Our Ariel Salk joins us live outside the Portland Ice Building in South Portland, where protests again are underway. Ariel?
So the caption on the video says it was taken here Friday night. The unidentified officer appears to be a part of the bike patrol. We are waiting on permission from the person who took the video before we can share it. But from what I saw, a Portland police officer was in the middle of a heated verbal argument with a protester Friday night. You can hear someone off camera asking the officer if he too would shoot Renee Nicole Good, the woman killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. He responds by saying, if she drove a car at me.
Now, why would he answer that question? Why would you answer that question? Dummy. No sympathy for him. Child, do your job and don't be talking to these people. Just do your job.
Protester Friday night. You can hear someone off camera asking the officer if he too would shoot Renee Nicole Good, the woman killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. He responds by saying, if she drove a car at me, yes. Later in the clip, you hear him say, sometimes criminals get shot if they threaten a cop. Portland Police Chief Bob Day says the Bureau is aware of the video and the officer is being reassigned while the incident is under review, saying in a statement in part, quote, tensions are high at this time, and this is affecting all of us, including community members and Portland Police Bureau members. And as we move through what may be challenging days and weeks ahead, it remains essential that all of us seek steady, respectful communication that supports safety and lawful protest activity. Portland's mayor also releasing a statement saying, like Renee, everyday Portlanders across the city have stood up to reckless, escalatory federal government, and they need to know their local leaders and law enforcement are on their side. Now, the officer does not say if he saw the video of Renee Nicole Good's killing. We have
girl, you know damn well he saw it. Stop this.
Reached out to Portland City Councilors, and we are waiting on a response. Reporting live.
Child, they ain't got nothing to say. That man about to be on up out of here, fired from his job because he couldn't just not say anything. Moving on, child. Moving on. DHS. CNN, DHS to surge 1,000 more agents in Minneapolis. 1,000 more?
That about 1,000 additional Customs and Border Protection agents are set to deploy to Minneapolis. That is according to two federal law enforcement sources. An ICE agent there shot and killed Renee Good just last week. Let's get to CNN's Whitney Wild for the very latest on all this. In this additional deployment, Whitney, what are you learning?
Well, this is a massive increase, John, because this was already the largest immigration action to date with 2,000 agents spread throughout the Twin Cities. Now we know that's going to be a 50% increase, 3,000 agents spread throughout that area. This is according to two sources. According to CNN's Priscilla Alvarez, Customs and Border Protection Commander Gregory Bovino had already been on the ground. He is going to be part of this operation. He is a well-known figure. He led operations in Chicago, New Orleans, and Charlotte. One of the sources telling Priscilla that he is going to be conducting targeted operations, which include door knocks. And in those situations, the documents that are provided to those targets will include administrative warrants, which are signed by an immigration officer.
All right. Hold on. The nurses are talking, y'all. The nurses are talking. Let's hear them.
Okay, en español. Soy la concejal Carmen de la Rosa, represento este gran distrito. Para mí es un honor estar aquí, porque represento a la comunidad de donde esta institución vive y trabaja. Y para nosotros, tener un contrato digno para nuestras enfermeras significa levantar familias, significa levantar a nuestra comunidad.
Child, who can interpret? Who can interpret what she's saying? Interpret what she's saying.
Hospital y ellas y ellos son los enfermeros que cuidan de nosotros. Ahora es el momento de que esta institución haga lo correcto, venga a la mesa y negocie un contrato digno para todas nuestras enfermeras. Gracias.
Gracias. I'd like to take a moment to thank New York City Assembly member Manny de los Santos, whose district we in. New York City Assembly member Al Taylor, whose district we also in. Also acknowledge a thank you support to New York State Senator Robert Jackson. We are in his district. We would like to thank New York City Council member Mercedes Narcisse, chair of the Council of Hospital Committee. We would like to acknowledge and say thank you to New York City Council member Lynn Schulman, chair of the Council of Health, and Chief of Staff Jonathan Hoocher in attendance. We would like to say thank you to our Reverend Kirsten John Foy. Thank you for being here and always have our back, President and CEO of the Art of Justice. Thank you. Now I would like to bring you another fearless Presbyterian nurse who works in the ED, who's been here day and night trying to tackle management, where she would sit in a room for 12 hours and management would only show up for 10 minutes. Aretha Morgan, Presbyterian nurse and Board of Director of New York State Nurses Association.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aretha Morgan. As Nancy just said, I'm a nurse here at Presbyterian. I've been a nurse for 34 years. We are out here today and not inside because there's a problem in the hospitals. There's a problem of safety. We nurses don't feel safe to be inside there. Not only are there not enough nurses to care for our patients in a timely manner, they have laid off nurses and nurse practitioners, spreading us even more thin. This could not have come at a worse time due to the fact that we are facing a flu outbreak, the worst that the city has seen in a recorded history. Infants, children, and adults are coming into this hospital critically ill with the flu and have less nurses and nurse practitioners to take care of them. We are also facing extreme workplace violence. Countless weapons are entering these hospitals, and many of us have been beaten, hit, slapped, punched, stalked, you name it. And we have asked these hospitals.
Do nurses get hazard pay? Sounds like they need some hazard pay. That's crazy.
To put in place workplace prevention, workplace violence prevention over and over and over again. But they refuse. How can we care for others when we are not safe? And to add insult to injury, my hospital, New York Presbyterian Hospital, will not even give us a fair contract. Their executives have told us that they're going to cut our health benefits and pension. They told us that.
Oh no, they're going to cut back on their pension and the health benefits? Oh hell no. Can't nurses go? Can't they work anywhere? F them. I mean, that's nice that they're going to fight, but I'm not sitting up there working and being attacked and then not getting no health insurance and not getting no pension either. No, hell no. No, I ain't going to be there either.
We gave them a 10-day strike notice that they will fight us back powerfully. We know that CEO Steve Corwin got 58% pay hike in 23 and 24. He went from ranking $14.6 million to $23 million. 26. And now he wants to cut our health benefits and pensions?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, I would definitely quit and move on. Can't nurses get jobs easily somewhere else or something like that? Hell no. Hell no. I don't blame them. I'd be going to. Fuck them. Moving on to BCP. So Democrats beg for mercy. Get your lives together. Get your minds right. After Trump cuts off food stamp funds and aid to Minnesota over Somali fraud. Oh no, seriously? Oh, Lord help your people.
Trump administration just announced that the USDA will be freezing all funds to Minnesota. The USDA is what is used to pay for things like SNAP, WIC.
This is 17 hours old. Did he do this yesterday?
Our national school lunch program. We use the federal funds to provide universal breakfast and lunches to children here in Minnesota. The USDA provides grants for our farmers here in Minnesota. It supports local and small businesses. They are cutting a lifeline to Minnesota. And they've already cut the funds for childcare to Minnesota. This comes just days after Minnesota House GOP representatives went to Congress and testified that there is massive fraud in Minnesota and it's all Walz's fault. They are cutting off funds to the most vulnerable people in Minnesota. Our children will go hungry. Our families will not be able to afford roofs over their head because they can't have childcare. Our farmers will lose their farms.
So the Trump administration froze federal food assistance.
Do I need to go over this again, or the previous rants over the last 2 days, or I'm sorry, over the last week are enough? I'll let them rock. All right, come on, child.
Money to Minnesota. SNAP, food stamps, programs that literally feed people, children. And before anyone jumps in screaming, fraud. Here's the part they don't want you to hear. This wasn't a court ruling. This wasn't proven wrongdoing. This was an executive freeze justified by allegations, not verdicts.
Boy. So we got to talk about more major moves from the Trump administration that is pissing Democrats off. Liberals are losing their minds right now because the Department of Agriculture has moved to cut food stamp funding from Minnesota, due to the Somali fraud.
Secretary Brooke Rollins, enough is enough. The Trump administration has uncovered massive fraud in Minnesota and Minneapolis. Billions siphoned off by fraudsters, and those in charge have zero plan to fix it. All right, that's true. Today, USDA is suspending federal financial awards to Minnesota and Minneapolis, effective immediately until sufficient proof has been provided that the fraud has stopped. Oh, no. No more handouts to thieves. Time to drain the Minnesota swamp and put American taxpayers. Oh, no. Oh, no. Child, we know that people like free stuff, child. If we don't know, nobody knows.
We like free stuff. So we came out here to get all this free stuff. But then the call saying you can't get the free stuff. What? Cause the people want to take it. And how y'all gonna take some stuff that ain't even yours? It's free.
So I got my 2 baskets and took the bus or whatever.
Wait a damn minute.
We get down here, we get some free stuff.
We're already in a recession. Times are hard. Why not just let us get the items and invest and be okay? We are Black women. We care about our crown. Why not give back to the community and let us get the product? The tools, any other eviction.
Scandal, there's good reason to believe that all of the federal programs, the federal tax dollars, our tax dollars going to Minnesota, a state run by Democrats and Tim Walz, that those funds are being used fraudulently, right? A significant portion of those funds are being used fraudulently. That is, there's good reason to believe that. And because of that, the administration is pausing funding while they investigate. Okay. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has been on top of this, right? He's saying that IRS is getting involved in investigating major financial institutions and Tim Walz himself for the fraud that he allowed to get out of control. Because in my opinion, I think the Democrats supported the fraud. They were complicit in the fraud, and they benefited from the fraud. Okay. And yes, they should be investigated. Like all 50 states really should be investigated.
It makes me think back to the beginning of the administration. You had some very high profile disagreements with Elon Musk, who was running Doge. Is the basic thesis of Doge been, more necessary than ever? And do you think there's a way to amplify that work moving forward?
Yeah. And Chris, to be clear, I was in 100% alignment with Elon on the waste, fraud, and abuse. It was just, the Silicon Valley motto is move fast and break things. I said my personal motto and the Treasury motto is move deliberately and fix things. And that's what you're going to see in our investigations. You're not going to see headlines tomorrow. You're not going to see them next week. But in a month, quarter, that once we get people in the bear trap, they're not getting out because we will have conclusive evidence to present. And I think that they will have to make plea deals, that they will be willing to negotiate, to turn in higher ups, to help us map out how this happened. And again, we're going to take this Minnesota map to other 49 states.
But one curious detail, this interview was originally scheduled for the Minnesota State Capitol. Can you explain why that didn't come to pass and why we're here?
For one reason, Chris, Tim Walz is a coward. He is a coward. He would not guarantee that the Treasury Secretary of the United States of America would have police protection in the Minnesota State Capitol. He is afraid of what is coming. And he's not going to be able to hide behind this curtain because we will get there. And I don't have to go in the Capitol building to investigate him. I would love for him to come to Treasury and answer some questions. I can guarantee you that he will be safe and sound. Then, depending on what we discover, I don't know about his future. And as I said earlier, that will be the only view of the Oval Office he ever gets. Because let's just think about the long arc of history. The suppression of this story is this guy got to within could have been one heartbeat away from being president of the United States. And when we don't have a functioning mainstream media and great independent journalists like you, citizen journalists who go out and do the investigative work because the people who are supposed to be doing it don't do it anymore.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, they're making moves to go after Tim Walz, to go after the state of Minnesota.
Shout out to Uncle Rick, who is in Minnesota. It looks like the rumors are that Timmy should be stepping down this week. Oh no. Who the hell gonna take over if Timmy goes? And who are we gonna make fun of if Timmy goes, yeah?
Hopefully we see Tim Walz in handcuffs, right? I think the odds of him actually being charged are going up every single day, right? Again, I think this is the reason why he decided that he was going to not run for re-election, because he's certainly guilty, right? He certainly allowed this to happen.
Allegedly.
And he can't explain his way out of it, right? And I think that's why he's basically calling it a career, right? He's trying to get out the spotlight because he knows that the longer that this issue stays in the public eye, the worse it makes Democrats look, right? This is why they're trying to distract us with these riots and these protests over the woke woman who won a Darn Award because she decided that she wanted to obstruct a police officer. So with that being said, the Trump administration, again, is moving to freeze more funds. Okay, they already moved to freeze the child care funds that Minnesota receives, and now they're moving to freeze agricultural funds, which includes food stamps for the state of Minnesota. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Good morning, Molly. The Trump administration says they want accountability in Minnesota, so they've taken a series of actions that they say will continue until there's proof that the alleged fraud has stopped. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins is suspending nearly $129 million in USDA awards to the state of Minnesota and city of Minneapolis. She's highlighting the $250 million Feeding Our Future fraud scheme, which she says involved USDA funding. Rollins is now giving state and local leaders 30 days to hand her agency justification for the federal dollars the state spent from January 20th of last year to now. The Treasury Department is acting too. Secretary Scott Bessent says the agency is auditing financial institutions that help process funds in Minnesota, and it's also investigating 4 money services businesses in the state.
Our team at FinCEN has just provided formal notification to these businesses that they are under investigation.
But the administration is hitting a legal roadblock. Earlier this week, it froze $10 billion in federal aid for social services in 5 Democrat-led states, including Minnesota, California, and New York, over the concerns about fraud. A federal judge has blocked the move for now after state officials argued it could put vulnerable Americans in jeopardy.
If he doesn't happen to like blue states, I guess that's a personal preference for him. But what he can't do is use the law to punish people who just because he doesn't like them.
I know this is the dude that was caught on the damn phone call. Child.
Well, it's not because he doesn't like you. It's because you're using the funds fraudulently, right? I really don't understand how is it that we have a system where the federal government can't even ask these states, hey, who are you giving the money to, right? The federal government gives the money to the states. They say you only can use the money for these things, but the federal government doesn't have the ability to actually audit the states, right? Like
that's amazing. Now that's the word that no one has ever said and still hasn't said: the audit, the compliance, who's on the oversight of all of this stuff. And again, why are they not just giving the information up? Just give the information up. Give it to the government, child. Give them everything. Because if they didn't know what to give, then why are they then saying, oh, somebody broke in and took our files? Well, child, if y'all didn't know what to give them, why are you telling us that somebody broke in and took your files? It sounds like you know, but you be bullshitting. Just give the information. This is the same difference. Yeah, I got to go into it. This is the same difference of these funds that go to this state and they're not being cared for properly. They've been caught. Admit what you did. Figure the fuck out. Give them what they need, right? When the people who are on assistance or on the child care, on the food stamps, on the Medicaid, on to this, on to that, then you are beholden to the damn government. So you can continue to depend on them for your life and your livelihood all you want to, but then shit like this happens. That is mostly political. I mean, yeah, there's alleged fraud. Let's just take that off the table for a second. But right now, all this is turning very political. Each side saying the other side and all this other shit and what this one is doing, what that one is doing. And are they thinking about those people that are getting on TikTok crying, boo-hoo, whining and crying, as he's about to say, about how you're not getting this and how you're not getting that? Y'all was crying because you didn't want to work the 20 hours or volunteer for 20 hours because you were so used to just getting food stamps for free and not having to do anything about it. Now that someone is changing the rules, you don't like it and you think you have a say. You never have a say when you depend on someone else. And y'all want to depend on the government and think that they going to sit up here and take care of your ass. And then when you got something to say that they going to listen to you, it don't work like that. But y'all keep doing you. We'll see how it turns out for you. Probably not good. Shout out to Mr. Too Fresh. Thank you, honey. Said, Messy, is that the reason that Timmy is losing weight? He's scared he might go to jail. I don't know, but he definitely losing weight. He definitely is losing weight.
It's funny how that works, okay? That's literally how our welfare system is set up. I've talked about this before. The states are literally suing the Trump administration so that they don't have to give the federal government a copy of who is receiving food stamps, right? Federal.
Imagine you've been getting taken care of by someone for years, and then they're like, you know what? I'm gonna need an audit, and they're like, child, I'm not giving you shit. And then they say, we're not giving you no more. And then you say, oh my God, how could you do this to me? Give him the shit. All you gotta do is give him the shit. Now, if you was doing something wrong, like he was giving it to your other boyfriend, that's a whole different story. You was doing wrong, and you know you're not gonna get no more, and you're gonna get in trouble for that. Anyway.
Tax dollars. The states are saying, no, we shouldn't have to show the federal government what we're doing with money. So how in the world is the federal government supposed to hold the states accountable for the use of federal funds if they can't see who's actually receiving the funds, right? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But that's the world we live in. Our welfare system is broken, right? It's broken. It is structurally broken. These states, it's hard to hold them accountable. You have to jump through hoops. You have woke judges left and right, always trying to stop the administration from doing accountability and oversight. And it's making me sick. It makes me sick. This is why I think this administration needs to stop warning these Democrats and just go ahead and freeze the funds, because there's a woke judge that's going to block it anyway. Just go ahead and get it started. Let's go ahead and get the legal battle going, right?
Might as well. But remember when they came through after 40 days, 40 nights of the food stamps, and something is only, I forget what it was. Something is only in place until the end of this month, January the 31st. I forget what it was. And child, if they go and they can shut down the government again. And if they shut down the government again, even though they extended food stamps, I think until August, you're not getting your food stamps. It's going to be the same shit. And listen, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But this is what I think. These people keep staying out here effing around and messing with these ICE people, carrying on and doing this bullshit and continue to make it worse and worse. I have a feeling. I got a feeling. I could be wrong. I just got a feeling that something will get shut down. And then they'll be back in the same place that they were before, boo-hoo whining and crying about no food. Then there's no food or no childcare. No welfare. Then it will bring in the Section 8 people too. It'll be everybody. But a lot of y'all think this shit is cute. Y'all think it's cool just to be running around town making a bunch of fucking noise in the name of a process that every president has done. Every single one of them. We showed that yesterday, child. I can bring it back up today. I know y'all don't like to see things that are true. Remember kids in cages? That was Obama. So he didn't do any deportation at all? All right, y'all.
We just need to pause all welfare, right? Just pause all welfare and let's go ahead and get the legal battle going, right? Maybe that's what we need to do. Keep it all the way 100. Let's pause all of the government cheese going to these states, these blue states specifically, and let's go ahead and fight it out in court. Because that's what they're going to do anyways if you wait. But the only way to fix a fraud is to freeze the funds. To freeze the funds and investigate. You don't want to keep giving out funds that are being used fraudulently. We're talking about $9+ billion.
It's okay to give out funds for it to be used fraudulently when it's the person on the receiving end is receiving something. I'm not saying that they're receiving it fraudulently, but as long as they're receiving what they want because it's free, then they want it to continue. Let something happen to them and somebody fraudulently does something to them. How many scam stories have we seen? Then it's, oh my God, romance scams, yeah, where these people was giving away their livelihood, mortgaging their home, selling it to give the money to that person. Then it's like, oh my God, you got to do something about all of this. It's not right. It's not fair. But for this, it's okay. Just leave it alone. Just let Timmy do what he wants to do.
It fraud out of Minnesota. And the federal government has to jump through hoops in order to hold Democrats accountable, to do oversight, something that Democrats failed to do. That happened.
The block is valid for 14 days to give both sides time to hand in more extensive legal arguments. Molly.
Madeline Rivera, thank you very much. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is calling this all an assault on his state.
We're exhausted as Americans. And this
Our favorite interpreter is back.
relentless assault on Minnesota, for whatever reason, is just cruel now. It has reached cruelness. So please, just give us a break. And if it's me, you're already getting what you want. But leave my people alone. Leave our state.
Let my people go. Is Timmy bowing? Is Timmy waving the white flag? Timmy, you need to tell your people to ramp it down. That's what you need to do, Timmy. Tell your people to ramp it down, cha. You and Jakey need to do that, in my opinion.
Is just cruel now. It has reached cruelness. So please, just give us a break. And if it's me, you're already getting what you want. But leave my people alone. Leave our state alone.
This dude is begging for mercy, right? He's begging for mercy at this point, right? Begging for mercy. Leave us alone, please. I gotta feed these kids. I gotta give out these free lunches on the mainstream liberal media about the administration freezing food stamps, and she's panicking just like the rest of the Democrats. Take a look.
Well, the administration also announced they're going to cut food stamps to Minnesota because they say some of the food stamp money had been embezzled here. Are you?
Uh-oh, Ilyan is back. Hold on. Let's pay attention. Ilyan is back.
And she's panicking just like the rest of the Democrats. Take a look.
Well, the administration also announced they're going to cut food stamps to Minnesota because they say some of the food stamp money had been embezzled here. Are you
and those are the things that are being litigated, and it is again unconstitutional for them to do so.
Are you confident that the fraud that has been discovered is no longer being conducted now? Is there any justification for saying this food stamp money is somehow being misused?
Yeah, there are ways to investigate fraud, which we have been doing in Minnesota, which the federal government has been doing under the Biden administration. There is no reason for them to use.
The Biden administration was doing the investigation into fraud. Yeah, who believes that? And who thinks that they was doing anything wonderfully?
Money is somehow being misused.
Yeah, there are ways to investigate fraud, which we have been doing in Minnesota, which the federal government has been doing under the Biden administration. There is no reason for them to use this level of rhetoric. There is no reason for them to fully stop funding these programs. The only reason they are doing that is for PR purposes, and it is harming our state. It is harming my constituents. And it is creating the kind of chaos and confusion that no one needs in this moment.
Because the administration and many conservative allies of the administration argue that this is still ongoing. There was that conservative influencer who went out and posted this video that went viral alleging that daycare facilities were pocketing public funds.
Yeah, and as you know, he went hours where these businesses were not operating.
Yep, CBS went out and did
which again creates the level of confusion and chaos that is not necessary in a moment when we are trying to deal with a serious problem that needs serious people to be able to address it.
But do you think there was no recorded evidence?
Wait a minute. Hold on.
The fraud that has been discovered is no longer being conducted now. Is there any justification for saying this food stamp money is somehow being misused?
Yeah, there are ways to investigate fraud, which we have been doing in Minnesota, which the federal government has been doing under the Biden administration. There is no reason for them to use this level of rhetoric. There is no reason for them to fully stop funding these programs. The only reason they are doing that is for PR purposes, and it is harming our state. It is harming my constituents, and it is creating the kind of chaos and confusion that no one needs in this moment.
Because the administration and many conservative allies of the administration argue that this is still ongoing. There was that conservative influencer who went out and posted this video that went viral alleging that
Okay, now she's talking about Nick Shirley. That's his name, right? Nick Shirley.
Care facilities were pocketing public funds.
Yeah, and as you know, he went hours where these businesses were not operating.
Yep, CBS.
He went to the places where these businesses were not operating. Did she just admit what was going on? He went to places where the businesses weren't operating. Now, I think daycares need to be open, yeah. Anybody have kids that were ever in daycare? You at least open Monday through Friday with a regular daycare because there's specialized ones, regular daycare. So they just happen to not be open. So none of them happen to be open on those particular days. Is she admitting it right now? Is she admitting this shit right now?
This is amazing.
But under Joe Biden, everything was supposed to be good. Joe Biden was doing the damn thing. You can trust us. Joe Biden did it.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Child, let's rewind it and listen again. This is what I'm hearing. Shout out to Wombat. I appreciate you, boo. He said Biden's regime fraud investigation, quote unquote, involves increasing the fraud because their personal payouts weren't high enough. Basically, I just feel like she's finally admitted. She just kind of admitted it. This is more of an admission than that other thing that people was trying to say was an admission. Child, they just weren't open that day. All of them. Maybe it was a Somalian holiday. Is that a possibility?
There is no reason for them to use this level of rhetoric. There is no reason for them to fully stop the funding these programs. The only reason they are doing that is for PR purposes. And it is harming our state. It is harming my constituents. And it is creating the kind of chaos and confusion that no one needs at this moment.
Because the administration and many conservative allies of the administration argue that this is still ongoing. There was that conservative influencer who went out and posted this video that went viral alleging that daycare facilities were pocketing public funds.
Yeah, and as you know, he went hours where these businesses were not operating.
Yep, CBS went out.
Yeah. Oh, she said hours where these businesses weren't operating. So daycares aren't open in the daytime. Besides the one that says they were open from 2 to 8, daycares are not open in the daytime for the most part, I guess is what she's saying. Girl, do you know what she's saying? I don't think she knows what she's saying.
And which again creates the level of confusion and chaos that it's not necessary in a moment when we are trying to deal with a serious problem that needs serious people to be able to address it.
But do you think there was no recorded evidence of fraud according to the CBS investigation that was conducted? But Governor Walz did choose to not run for re-election. He dropped out of the race because of all of that.
Because he wants to focus on defending our state and not defending a seat.
Do you think there has been a sufficient level of accountability and ownership of the failure to have oversight here? Do you think this ends?
That is what we want. We want to collaboratively work with the administration to try to make sure that there is no fraud that's being perpetuated on our state. What we do not want is the level of terror, of confusion, of chaos that is being created without any results in this moment.
Yeah, what they don't want is accountability.
Well, then get those protesters to carry their asses to work. Maybe they need to go work at the daycare or something, child. Even though she did say hours, he went outside of the hours. I'm feeling like it was one time he went outside of the hours, but like someone said, shout out to Cynthia though for the Somalian holiday. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's hilarious. For those of us that have children and have had children in daycare, you know, and we know that you hear children at a daycare. You cannot not go and not hear daycare. And when you go there, the doors are not locked. Unless you're one of them people with some sophisticated type of thing, the door is not locked when you go in, but you cannot go past the receptionist area unless they get your information. And then you go to the kids thereafter. You're going to smell a daycare. You're going to hear kids in the daycare. You have to have an outside playground for the daycare. None of that. None of that. Child, please. And the hours of 2 to 10 is crazy. That's 8 hours for it to be open, child. How long are you working? What job do y'all have over there that you're only working from like 3 to 9 p.m.? None of that makes sense. None of those places had any kids, heard any kids, locked door. No, that's too many. That's too many. Clearly enough people don't have kids or never had kids in daycare. Clearly a lot of y'all never had kids in daycare. Anyway, no, let me go over to the Kristi Noem stuff. Is this it? Yeah, this is Kristi talking to Jake Tapper. So State of the Union yesterday, it says, full interview, Kristi Noem defends ICE's actions in Minneapolis amidst a nationwide protest.
This is the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, former South Dakota Governor, Kristi Noem. Thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it. So it's been 4 days since this incident. The FBI is investigating the circumstances around the shooting. What new have investigators learned?
Well, I would say the FBI can give you the details of the investigation, but what we do know is that this was clearly a law enforcement action where the officer acted on his training and defended himself and his life and his fellow colleagues. It's a tragedy that this family has lost a loved one and that our country is dealing with the situation. But that's why we need our leaders to turn down their rhetoric. We need individuals and elected leaders in Minnesota to start partnering with us so that we can do law enforcement operations on the streets to protect the citizens that live there.
On the matter of partnering, state and local officials in Minnesota are asking to be allowed to participate in the investigation into the shooting alongside the FBI. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension said in a statement that they've been denied access to evidence in the case. It is normal in investigations like these to be done with federal officials working in tandem with state and local officials. According to the governor of Minnesota, the mayor of Minneapolis, and the State Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions, DHS is not doing that. Why?
Well, we're following the same protocols that we've always followed in these situations. Nothing's changed. We do our investigations, and the federal government continues to do that with the Department of Justice. So
you don't work with locals?
We do work with locals when they work with us, but on the investigation piece of it, ICE and the Department of Homeland Security have a process and a protocol that we've always followed, and we're doing the same thing in this situation.
But what do you mean you work with them when they work with you?
As far as operations on the ground, we would love that. These sanctuary cities such as Minneapolis are extremely dangerous for American citizens. And Jake, since we've been there, We've arrested dozens and dozens of murderers and rapists, individuals who have assaulted children and sodomized them. We just released a whole list of individuals just in Minnesota that we've arrested since we've surged personnel there, and it's incredible. So we would love it if the Minneapolis Police Force and the governor and the state police department would partner with us to help us do this work.
Well, what about partnering when it comes to the investigation? Because Minnesota and Minneapolis say they're being denied access to information, and this took place in their streets.
You know, the investigation is happening at the Department of Justice. I run the Department of Homeland Security, and I really will continue to follow the same process that this administration has in place, but also the same process that the last administration did. It's always been the same. Nothing's changed in this process, and we'll make sure that not only do our law enforcement have the opportunity to get the training they need, that they have the support and the backup on the streets that they need, but they also recognize that when a tragedy like this happens, that we'll do the right thing.
But
I feel like she's not answering the question. So I don't know if they're allowed in. They say they're not allowed in. She really not answering the question. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the people in Minnesota are not in on this investigation. Mr. Too Fresh, I appreciate you. He said Nick Shirley was on PBD. He said he went to the daycare December 16th, a week before he put the video out. Those kids were supposed to be there. I know the kids were supposed to be there. I know they were supposed to be there. And the only people who don't have a clue are people who never had kids in daycare. I don't care where, what state, what city, none of that. You got a place where a bunch of kids are, you gonna hear some damn noise. You gonna smell some funky diapers. I don't care what nobody say. Daycares have a horrible smell. Daycares have a horrible smell. Sorry, they do. And it's usually a bunch of Pampers that have accumulated in the day. Okay, then you got funky ass kids, then they outside, they sweaty, they funky, they in dirt, all that type of stuff. So there's no locked doors. Let me rephrase. The front door should not be locked so people can get in and ask. And you should be able to get literature. You should be able to have your name taken down. You should be able to get an application. Even if there's a waiting list, you still should have access to all this stuff. That has to be in the rules somewhere. Because what if it's like they decided not to give it to the Black person, just for example, they decided not to give it to me, but they gave it to Kristi. Nah, you're supposed to have that shit. You're supposed to give it to everybody. Or a man came in there saying that he wanted, and you just decided that you didn't want to give it to them. No, you need to give it to everybody. You got to be ready. You at least need to take their name and phone number down to call them back. That's basic, typical. Does every state work that way? I don't know. But I would think that to make sure that you don't have discrimination and stuff like that, and that you're treating everybody right, that you at least need to have shit on hand. Also, if there's only Somali kids that go here, what the fuck is that about? Now, I know you'll say, oh, it's a Somali community. Well, child, what the hell? So you telling me nobody else lives there? Nobody else lives in there? That sounds crazy too. Is there not, and I don't know. Now, this I don't know. Is there, you know how we're supposed to have a percentage of people, I guess that probably is affirmative action, but just say that you should have a percentage of different people in there so that you don't seem to look like, you know, that you might be discriminating. I don't know. I let daycare owners let us know that if you're in here.
Officials are saying that the Trump administration, I understand that you're saying that it's the Department of Justice, not DHS. But officials are saying the Department of Justice is not working with them. Should they be working with the locals?
You know, I would say that these locals, if you look at what Governor Walz has said, if you look at what Mayor Fry has said, they've extremely politicized and inappropriately talked about the situation on the ground in their city.
Okay, first of all, she's not answering the question. And second of all, she's done the same thing from the first time of her comment. Her first comment was that that woman was a domestic terrorist. Child, you didn't know shit in order to be saying stuff like that. So to try to act like that she hasn't contributed to this, no. What is her name, Kristi? No, girl, come on, answer the damn question. Just say no, because that's what it sounds like. Just say no.
They've inflamed the public. They've encouraged the kind of destruction and violence that we've seen in Minneapolis the last several days, and I would encourage them to grow up, get some maturity, act like people who are responsible, who want people to be safe, and the right thing be done. When you use the kind of language that you use against law enforcement officers, they lose their credibility.
You've also been criticized for your comments. The shooting, we should note, was Wednesday at 10:37 a.m. Eastern. Just over 2 hours later, the Department of Homeland Security put out a statement definitively asserting what had happened, defending the ICE agent, accusing Renee Good of domestic terrorism. That's a characterization that you reiterated in a press conference half an hour later. Now, Republican Senator Tom Tillis said, quote, "It was very unusual to have a senior law enforcement official to draw a conclusion about an event where the scene was still being processed. Generally speaking, law enforcement would recognize that a life was lost, that families are changed forever, The shooter's life will change forever. We're collecting video. We're trying to assess the situation. Why did you not wait for an investigation before making your comments?
Oh, everything that I've said has been proven to be factual and the truth. This administration wants to operate in transparency. I have the responsibility as the Secretary of Homeland Security to know this information as soon as possible. Had just been to Minneapolis the day before, had already had conversations with officers on the ground and supervisors, and knew the facts, and decided that the department and the people of this country deserve to know the truth of the situation of what had unfolded in Minneapolis.
But with all due respect, Secretary, the first thing you said was, quote, what happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow. Correct. Because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and rammed them with her vehicle.
And that absolutely was not true. Child, that absolutely was not true. So we're going to sit here and give the double speak, Chris. Chris, get it together. Just say that you spoke too soon, which is what I said when she started speaking. I said that. I said, how the hell did she know? Shit just happened 15 minutes ago. She out here, she knowing everything. Child, please. Let's see what she does. Do you think that she'll reflect back to Timmy?
That's not what happened. We all saw what happened.
It absolutely is what happened. Those
girl, what? Hold on. What in the world, girl?
Which were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow. Correct. Because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and rammed them with her vehicle. That's not what happened. We all saw what happened.
It absolutely is what happened. Those officers had been out in enforcement action. A vehicle had been stuck. They had come to help get that vehicle out. That's when this individual started blocking traffic for minutes and minutes.
You said that the woman attacked them and surrounded them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle.
Blocked the road for a long time.
Well, she was out there following and blocking the road, and she was cross-eyed in an earlier video, which I didn't bring up. Sorry, y'all. Where she was dancing in the car, just being in the way. She definitely was in the way. Meaning, child, what is her name? Renette. She was definitely being in the way. But this, they were stuck. It wasn't their fault, and someone attacked them. Girl, come on now.
And was yelling at them and impeding a federal law enforcement investigation. That's what you need to focus on, Jake, is they were breaking the law by impeding and obstructing a law enforcement operation. They were breaking the law already, and these officers were doing their due diligence.
That part is true.
Diligence of what their training had prepared them to do to make sure they were handling it appropriately.
You said within hours of her being killed, you said that she was a domestic terrorist. How do you define domestic terrorist?
She weaponized her vehicle to conduct an act of violence against a law enforcement officer and the public.
How can
as they are doing that,
how can you assert with certainty that she was trying to hurt the officer as opposed to she was trying to flee the scene?
If you look at what the definition of domestic terrorism is, it completely fits the situation on the ground. This individual, as you saw in the video that we released just 48 hours after this incident, showed that this officer was hit by her vehicle. She weaponized it, and he defended his life and those colleagues around him and the public.
The question is, I don't doubt. My position is, I wasn't there. I didn't see it. Some people say that it clearly showed that she was trying to hit him and did. Some people say, no, she was clearly trying to move her car and flee and get away. I don't know. What I'm saying is, how do you know? How can you assert for a fact within hours before any investigation, this is what happened?
Good job, Jake. I agree. Now, whether she intentionally did it or unintentionally did it, right? She did it. She definitely hit that man. But she's just out here talking about, no, she intentionally, because that's what she gonna do. No, she don't know. And she wasn't even there. And she wasn't even looking at any of them videos that much by then. And of course, not all the rest of them. Child, these people I told y'all, they all the same. They all ain't shit. You gonna depend on these people?
The facts of the situation are that the vehicle was weaponized and it attacked the law enforcement officer. He defended himself and he defended those individuals around him. That is the definition. When there is something that is weaponized to use against the public and law enforcement, that is an act of domestic terrorism. It happened in our shores. It happened here in our country. You don't get to change the facts just because you don't like them. We will continue to look at this individual and what her motivations were. We know that there was, throughout that morning, she had harassed and impeded law enforcement operations. Mm-hmm. That raises the suspicion level with all of these law enforcement officers as far as paying attention to what her capacity is. And as you see on the videos, and they've proven out that this law enforcement officer took the action that his training prepared him for, and he worked to make sure that he could save his own life and those around him.
How can you assert that there's no ambiguity in this before any investigation has taken place.
I had just been in Minneapolis and had been with those officers, had seen what they were facing on the streets every day, and had talked to their supervisors as soon as the incident happened and had gotten the facts and seen videos before I ever went to talk at that press conference. And the Trump administration and President Trump is the most transparent and open government that we've ever had.
Girl, come on now. You really reaching now.
Give the public the information, give them what they need to know about a situation so they can have the truth as soon as possible.
So if this agents were perfectly fine, if everything he did was accurate, does that mean that other ICE agents should...
He wasn't perfectly fine. He was injured. He went to the hospital.
No, his actions were fine. I didn't say...
In fact, I think a lot of people and guests, and even you yourself, called this situation something very different and untruthful about what it was, as far as...
What did I say that was untruthful?
That this was not a correct definition of what was happening on the ground.
I said that your description... They were attempting to push out their vehicle and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with their vehicle is not what we see on the videotape, and it's not.
It absolutely is the facts of what happened on the ground that day. They were there.
Is she really here? Is this real? Is this real? Is she real? That's absolutely what happened. Girl, that's not what happened. Please stop this. Girl, that's absolutely what happened. Girl, we saw them ride down the road. What are you talking about?
Pushing out a vehicle earlier. They had helped each other.
But that's not what you said. That's not what you said.
Yes,
they were pushing out a
absolutely
vehicle.
What I said. There's not one.
We all seen the video. I don't need to relitigate it. We've all seen the video. She is blocking the street. They approach her.
You haven't seen the video of the entire morning and the previous encounters with this individual.
Oh, we have aired it. Yes, we have. On Thursday, we were airing and noting the fact that she was there for several minutes, for minutes and minutes and minutes. She was protesting without
and
question.
at previous locations that morning. That absolutely, that these vehicles had been previously down the block on video that you haven't seen. There's more information.
But the question is
was
not
impeding law enforcement operations.
She still didn't have all that information when she made that statement. I don't care what nobody say. She over here just making shit up as she goes. Standing on the lies, child. Stand on them lies, child.
Throughout the previous moments and hours before
the question is, what was she doing when she was moving her car?
The question
That's the question.
Is why are we arguing with a president who's working to keep people safe? Why are we arguing with law enforcement operations that have gone on in this country for years, and we're working to collect murderers and rapists and drug traffickers and fraudsters off the streets of Minnesota, and we don't have local law enforcement and local elected officials that are partnering with us to help do that work? Overwhelmingly, the people in this country said they wanted America to be safe again, that they didn't want dangerous criminals on our streets. I would encourage the elected leaders in that city and in that state to work with us so that we can do our operations without the kind of opposition and people that are conducting and perpetuating the kind of violent rhetoric that we're seeing today.
And them being out there wilding right now is the reason why they sending 1,000 more there. That's the exact reason why they sending 1,000 more there. You think they're gonna sit up there and keep watching them videos of these people getting attacked? But child, clearly LTMs, low testosterone males and liberal white women ain't got shit else to do, child, on a Monday.
DHS policy authorizes use of deadly force only, quote, when no reasonably effective, safe, and feasible alternatives appears to exist. Could he not have just gotten out of the way?
This individual, this officer, is a highly experienced law enforcement officer. He has years of training and specialized training for these types of situations. We're grateful that he's alive. It's a tragic situation, and we're going to continue to work on the investigation into the individual and find out what the motivations were behind her actions that day.
We're grateful that that he's alive too. I want to play this moment from the officer's cell phone video. June of last year, Agent Ross had his arm pinned in the back window of a car as an undocumented immigrant who was a criminal drove away from a traffic stop. It dragged him about 100 yards. Here's what Vice President Vance said about the incident this week.
That very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. So you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile?
If this is relevant, first of all, it's horrible that happened. If it's relevant, which the Vice President seems to think it is, do you think this understandably very traumatic event that this officer went through last June might have influenced, as the Vice President is suggesting happened, how he responded?
Now, there's no indication to that, but the facts is that we've seen vehicles weaponized over 100 times in the last several months against our law enforcement officers. So they definitely know that the threat is real, that individuals who are trained by activists to go out and to impede their law enforcement operations will weaponize their vehicles and try to run them over and drag them and not stop. So they certainly go into these situations with that knowledge that could happen, and that's what their training prepares them for.
What evidence are you looking at that so many other people around the country look at and they say, it looked to me, her tires were turned to the right, she was moving her car, and they see a woman trying to flee. You say she was trying to kill the officer. No investigation has happened. Why are you so certain that your interpretation is the truth when an investigation hasn't even happened?
Jake, I'm watching the videos.
Other
I'm
people are
talking to
watching the
officers.
videos
I'm getting
and
the
coming to a
facts.
different conclusion.
Everything that we've stated as the Department of Homeland Security and this administration has been factual. And I wish we would talk factually about what we see every day from these protesters, what they do, what they say, how they chant over and over, kill ICE, attack law enforcement, how they're trained to perpetuate violence against them and to stop the work that they do every day. Each of these law enforcement officers takes an oath to protect this country and uphold the law. They go out every day and enforce the laws of this country to keep people safe. So these individuals that are out there harassing them while they do that work, doxing their identities, threatening them and their families, it's unacceptable. And that's why President Trump is so strong in supporting their operations in all of these cities.
The officer appeared to have fired 3 shots, the first one through the front windshield, the second and third through the side window. What is the justification for the second and third, given that the officer was out of
You're
harm's way?
watching the same videos that I am, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're watching the same one. So you see how quickly the situation unfolded, how the officer was in front of the vehicle when she sped off, how she ran into him, and how he had to take quick action based on his training to defend himself and his colleagues around
Once
him.
he's out of
That's
harm's
very
way.
clear and factual from the videos that you can see. It's nobody's interpretation. We don't get to change it because we can see it with our eyes and we can build on the evidence that we have on the ground.
Yeah, the question
we don't
is
because
why-
the politics doesn't fit somebody and what they're trying to do to continue to defraud people in their city and in their state, continue to take advantage of individuals and to allow criminals.
know what you're talking about.
That's what Mayor Frey and that's what Mayor Governor Walz are doing every day by diverting the attention and trying to attack a law enforcement officer. They're allowing the
I don't know why he's blinking out. That's dumb. That's not me.
criminals to go by without examination.
Are you saying
without
that the
question.
second and third shots, because you just said it happened very quickly, are you
I
saying
didn't
the
say
second and
anything
third
at all. I
shots?
said watch the videos.
I'm
And watch how
asking.
quickly this unfolded and know that law enforcement officers every day in this country are in difficult situations where they have to make split-second decisions to protect themselves, the public, and their colleagues, and that they have to rely on their training. That's exactly what this officer did. And I know that the left and I know the crazy activists in this country that are trying to undermine our way of life will attack and try to destroy a law enforcement officer.
I'm
who do
asking a
that.
question.
It's just unacceptable, and we're not going to let that
I'm
happen.
asking a question is, when he's out of harm's way, what is the reason for the second and third shot through the window when he is out? He's not in the line of sight of the car.
This investigation will continue to unfold and more information will come forward. But until that comes, what I would appreciate is everybody sticking to the facts of the situation and recognize that this law enforcement officer took action based on his training to protect himself and the public.
I'm just waiting for the investigation to come through. I'm wondering if you're not doing a disservice to the officer by reaching a conclusion before the investigation
I
takes
haven't
place.
heard you say once what a disservice it's done for Mayor Frey to get up and to
I'm
tell
interviewing him
ICE
next.
to get the F out of his city
I'm
and
interviewing
AOC to stand up before she had any of the facts and call this officer a murderer.
I just-
For individuals, well, call them out, Jake. Spend as much time calling them out.
Okay.
I have provided you with facts and information to back up every single word that we have said
Mhm.
and every single part of this investigation. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But we're going to continue to do the right thing to keep the American people safe.
I know that you'd like to make me the topic of this and not what happened, but I did ask a Democratic senator just a few minutes ago about AOC's comments, and I don't actually even know what you're talking about when I ask questions as if like that's an assertion. It's a question. How can you make a conclusion before an investigation? And there really isn't an answer other than you saw the video. I want to ask a question about the rules of how law enforcement is allowed to engage when feeling threatened per your assertions, because I want to show some video to you right now and ask, what is the appropriate response for the police officers in this situation? Those are law enforcement officers being physically attacked. By this standard, would any of those officers be justified in shooting and killing the people causing them physical harm?
Every single situation is going to rely on the situation those officers are on. That they know that when people are putting hands on them, when they are using weapons against them, when they are physically harming them, that they have the authority to arrest those individuals.
The president
to make sure that
pardoned
they're
every single
facing
one of those people.
consequences and make sure that they're getting justice for their actions going forward.
President Trump pardoned every single one of those
And
people.
every single one of these investigations comes in the full context of the situation on the ground. And that's one thing that President Trump has been so focused on, is making sure that when we're out there, we don't pick and choose which situations are and which laws are enforced and which ones aren't. Every single one of them is being enforced under the Trump administration. And the clarity of the law stands. And if people don't like it, these members of Congress and elected officials should go change the law and make sure they have that debate and policy.
I just showed you video of people attacking law enforcement officers. Undisputed proof, undisputed evidence. And I just said President Trump pardoned all of them. And you said that President Trump is enforcing all the laws equally. It's just not true. There's a different standard for law enforcement officials being attacked if they're being attacked by Trump supporters. We just saw that.
This individual in these instances and these investigations all have.
Now I want to know what the hell he showed her, because they're not going to show the videos in this particular interview. This is all the interview all on her.
To be taken and done correctly in context of every situation that is happening on the ground. So what we are doing today as the Department of Homeland Security is out there with our law enforcement officers, making sure
that we're targeting the worst of the worst, and that we're talking factually about each situation and making sure that we're bringing those perpetuators of violence back to justice, bringing them to justice and making sure they face consequences for their crimes. We'd love to have the partnership of Mayor Fry. We'd love to have the partnership of the Chief of Police and of Governor Walz every day when we're out there to make sure they tone down the rhetoric and they do the right thing for the people of Minnesota.
Whatever, child. She's deflecting for sure. But on the other thing that we were watching, they definitely just like coming at her like crazy, right? So I went over here to ICE's website to see what they got to say over here. I've never been here before, so I'm not really sure what the hell is what, but I went to FAQs, cha. I'm sure people don't come here to look for anything. I saw somebody that had a list of what ICE officers can and cannot do, but I can't seem to find that. Why does ICE arrest people and do they need a warrant? ICE officers and agents are on the streets every day, prioritizing public safety by locating, arresting, and removing criminal aliens and immigration violators from our neighborhoods. So I saw somebody earlier talk about how it was a misdemeanor to be here illegally. A misdemeanor, you wouldn't get one if you didn't break the law. So you're just basically trying to say that you have to do something worse in order for something to happen to you. So you're advocating for the people that have deleted people, raped people, threw people over the damn side of the bridge and all that other stuff. That happens. That needs to happen in order for someone to do something. No, if you're not supposed to be, carry y'all's asses over to damn Russia and hang out and see what happens to y'all. Like, seriously, I'm so tired of people saying that dumb shit. It's only a misdemeanor. You're not going to get a misdemeanor if you're not doing anything wrong. ICE does not need judicial warrants to make arrests. Like all other law enforcement officers, ICE officers and agents can initiate consensual encounters and speak with people, briefly detain aliens when they have reasonable suspicion that the aliens are illegally present in the United States and arrest people they believe are illegal aliens. ICE officers and agents can also detain and search people crossing the border. I guess they don't need to show warrants because they ain't gotta have any. Officers cannot show the warrants they are executing to people who aren't named or involved. Oh, okay. Often law enforcement sensitivities and privacy concerns require officials to keep this information under wraps. Are ICE officials really police? ICE officials are federal law enforcement officers. All ICE enforcement officers go through extensive academy training to do their job as safely and effectively as possible. Why won't ICE officers tell me what's going on? ICE enforcement officers are bound by privacy laws because ain't none of your damn business. Shit. Is asylum a legal status? Asylum is one form of legal status, but applying for asylum doesn't mean a person has legal status. Only an immigration court or a U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services can grant asylum, and only after an alien follows a specific process. Are ICE and CBP the same agency? ICE and U.S. Customs and Border are different agencies. They're just a part of Homeland Security. Does ICE arrest illegal aliens outside of courtrooms? Sometimes ICE arrests illegal aliens outside of courtrooms. Who the fuck cares? Why does ICE arrest illegal aliens who are complying with alternate? I don't care. Let me see if I can find it, child, because that was good information that he had. Law enforcement partnership, immigration fraud, prosecution, fugitive operations. We remove criminals from our communities. Oh. All righty then. Let's see. ICE check-in. If you need to check on somebody, you can come here. Fugitive operations. Okay, that's the same damn thing. All right, I don't know. Detention facility. Well, it looks like you can find everything over here. Anyway, let's see what this says. No. The ICE program map. Active agreements. Oh, ICE can't go into California, Oregon, or Washington State, Illinois, Jersey, or Connecticut. But all these other states they can go into. Oh wow, who knew? Who knew? Learn something. We be learning every day, child. We be learning every day. Anyway, let me go over here to this is CNN's day. Y'all should be happy. Some of y'all remember that lady from Philly, the sheriff lady that came up here trying to talk about ICE don't come here. You gonna F around and find out. Basically, is what she was saying, child. Now, of course, everybody want to talk to her, so she went on CNN because who else would have her? CNN Aaron Burnett interviews Sheriff Rochelle Belial regarding comments on ICE actions in cities. This is a lady from Philly.
Breaking news, Philadelphia's sheriff calling ICE agents fake wannabe law enforcement and warning, quote, you don't want this smoke. And her comments are generating a lot of headlines and some outrage. One Republican is now calling for her arrest. Well, let's tell you exactly what she said. Here's more from Sheriff Rochelle Belial.
Arrest her.
I call them made up fake wannabe law enforcement because what they do is against not only legal law, but the moral law. If any of them want to come in this city and commit a crime, you would not be able to hide. Nobody will wish you off. You don't want this smoke because we will bring it to you. The criminal in the White House would not be able to keep you from going to jail.
And she is out front now, the sheriff of the city and county of Philadelphia, Rochelle Belial. And Sheriff, I am grateful for your time tonight. So obviously you used those words knowing full well they would be heard. And you were prepared for them to be heard, as they have been. Why did you feel the need to speak out as a law enforcement officer so passionately against ICE?
First of all, thank you for having me. While attending the DA press conference on dealing with the situation with Ms. Good that happened in Minneapolis, what was stated was that the district attorney said if you're going to come in Philadelphia and commit a crime, that he would arrest you. The sheriff's office, it deals with transportation. So basically I said you would not be able to hide. Nobody would whisk you away. And if he charges you, then you can be arrested. What I was saying is that when I said you come in this city to do a crime, we will bring the smoke to you. People are tired of these people coming into the city, masked.
Child, everybody know what everybody is tired of. No, child, nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for any of this. I think that all her comments were inappropriate.
Up, basically all masked up and pulling people out and causing havoc. This was supposed to be helping cities out. This was supposed to be.
No shade. I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I feel like Philly, the city of, got a lot of shit going on that they should be using this damn rhetoric on them damn criminals that be on they're outside on a nightly basis, causing havoc, deleting people, harassing people, stealing shit every single day. Every single day. They don't ever say shit like this to those criminals, prosecute those criminals. They get out, they on bond, they don't have bond, and the kids for show. But she gonna come out here and talk all this shit so that she can get on to CNN, in my opinion, so that she can be seen, so that she can get some attention. For what? To bring attention to the fact that Philly is a hot ass mess? Because honestly, at the end of the day, it is a hot ass mess.
Eliminating crime, but yet you are committing them here. You are putting people in fear. You are breaking up families.
Is it making your job harder? Is it making your job harder?
It is, because in Philadelphia, because there are two branches.
So it's making her job harder. I'm going to tell you right now, I see the Philly news every damn day. There ain't nobody making her job harder. Ain't nobody stopping her from doing shit. Ain't nobody stopping Krasner from prosecuting nobody, but unfortunately they don't. Criminals return back to the damn streets. They go back to the same damn victims and unfortunately do crap to them. And sometimes they get taken the hell on up out of here. Or these damn kids is running around doing whatever the hell it is that they want. Don't nobody want to do nothing to them. Don't nobody want to hold them accountable. They out here taking out whole ass adults, running around the street like damn crazy, carjacking like they ain't no damn tomorrow, unless we not even talk about the damn summertime. But they got all this smoke. This is all about Donald Trump. It's the same play over and over and over again. It is the same play over and over and over again. They don't have none of the smoke for the crime that's going on a daily and nightly basis. Nothing.
Law enforcement. The Philadelphia Police Department that, does the investigation, arrest, patrol the city. The sheriff's office is the security of the courts. We have K-9, bike unit, warrant unit that works 24 hours out in the streets. And I'm being blamed about ICE agents being around the courts. Now I can't stop ICE from being outside, hanging around the courts because public sidewalks, public building. But what I can
So in other words, ICE is already there and you ain't done nothing. So you just talking just to get in on the shit. Yes, let's bring attention to ourselves. That's what Americans like to do the most. Bring attention to themselves for no reason when you're not even doing the job that you're already paid to do. Anybody want to come to Philly? Bueller? Since everybody got all this smoke, right? Anybody want to come to Philly and hang out and stay? Why don't you come on the 4th of freaking July weekend? You can pick whichever one, the one before, the one after. Hang out outside, go out to the bar, go shopping, and let me know how you do with all that. Let me know how you do with all that. Since everybody got all, she's saying the right thing. She's fucking talking for nothing. If ICE is already there, why ain't she doing something to them? Why ain't she saying something to them that's already in the daggone state? Now, I'm not saying that Philly got this problem with a bunch of asylum seekers. As far as I can tell, I haven't heard a lot about that. But as far as crime is concerned, definitely a lot of crime.
can do is if the district attorney arrests you and charge you, then we will make sure we transport you to where you need to go.
So let me ask you, because, the video that we've had on this, and I'm sure you've seen it from various angles. We now have a new angle tonight filmed by the actual ICE agent who shot Good himself, right? He filmed their interaction and has released it. Vice President Vance says it shows that the ICE agent, that his life was endangered and he fired in self-defense. You do see them interacting, and it seems to be a rather calm interaction. Her arms out the window, then it escalates within milliseconds to the shooting. Looking at this as law enforcement, okay, and what he did and what happened, what do you see?
First of all, law enforcement professional does not put themselves in the place of danger. You don't stand in front of a vehicle, basically standing there so that you can get hit or cause an accident. And then when the woman and Ms. Good turns to get away from them and the officer is on the side, where is the threat? There's no more threat for you to shoot twice into a car. There was no gun shooting at you. The car turned you out of the way. That should have been it. 2 more shots into the vehicle, killing this woman. It's wrong.
Sheriff Bilal, I appreciate your time tonight, and thank you so much.
Pause. All right, let's see. When is this from? This is as of 3 hours ago. ABC Philly. Woman injured, man fatally SHOT'd inside the tow truck in Northeast Philadelphia.
This morning, 2 gunmen opened fire on a tow truck in Northeast Philadelphia, killing 1 man and injuring a woman. Video shows the tow truck riddled with bullets. The gunfire erupted at Norris Street and Busselton Avenue at 8 o'clock last night. A 25-year-old man and a 21-year-old woman were inside the tow truck when the gunmen opened fire. While the man was killed, the woman was left critically injured. Police say some bullets hit a second-floor window nearby.
Inside that floor is an Asian senior center, and there were multiple people inside when those bullets came through those windows. Fortunately, no one on that floor was injured.
Authorities are looking for a silver or gray Honda that they say pulled up next to that tow truck with 2 gunmen opening fire.
There you go. Thank you, Matt. Let me see. Most people were last night. They were at the Eagles game because the Eagles played the 49ers last night. They lost, from what I understand. So that's where most people were, child. They was there before the sun came up the night before. Let me see. Philadelphia police look for suspect wanted for South Street jewelry store incident. I know. Of course, StreamYard is StreamYard. And hold on a second. Hold on.
More calls for help tonight to identify a different suspect. This one after he allegedly brandished a handgun at a jewelry store on South Street.
No.
Take a look at this man's face. The incident happened back on December 11th. Police say the man here arrived and left in a gray Jeep Grand Cherokee. They add he stormed into the store in the 400 block of South Street and started waving a gun at the employees there. Police say it was a dispute over a piece of jewelry. Again, if you know anything, you're asked to please reach out to Philadelphia police.
Well, just reach out to what's her name. She should be on the case. What is her name? Rochelle, whatever her name is. She should be on the case, child. All that talking. She should have for all these criminals. Like I said, I think it was a little tame last night, only because everybody was at the game. But y'all, we didn't cover too much crap, and we hear shit every single day with regard to shit and crime going on in Philly, non-prosecution of people, and she won't be out here talking this mad sugar honey iced tea, child. Anyway, what is this? Tense night. Let's go over here back to Minnesota. It says tense night outside Whipple Federal Building ends with feds using chemical agents. Oh no.
It was an emotional weekend in Minneapolis as people continue to protest the immigration enforcement crackdown that's happening here.
And we saw thousands take to the streets this weekend, just days after 37-year-old Renee Good was killed by an ICE agent in South Minneapolis.
And last night, our Adam Dexter was there as law enforcement and protesters clashed outside of the federal Whipple building at Fort Snelling.
Moments after warning the crowd at the Whipple building Sunday night, federal enforcement opened fire. Tear gas, pepper balls, and other chemical agents meant to make up the remaining group of about 65. It was perhaps the exclamation mark on a night of heightened tensions between protesters and counter-protesters within the group. Nearly half a dozen times over the course of the evening, federal enforcement on the scene was ready to act. It started in the early evening when federal agents tackled protesters after clashes and took them inside. The back and forth nature of the night only continued from there. All Sunday evening, it felt like both protesters and the federal agents on the scene were walking the edge of a very fine line. Like when this car stopped and refused to move. Or when arguments led to tear gas. Or simply shouting matches from agitated onlookers.
Well, this is what we've seen all night long at the Whipple building as presumably federal agents leave for the night. You see these demonstrators and these protesters yelling, sometimes throwing snowballs at their car. It is what has led to sometimes tense clashes between the two groups all evening long.
Within the group, several, like Barisa Arreso of St. Paul, who maintained they were here to demonstrate peacefully.
And it's sad because it shouldn't be like this. People are still not afraid. It's still, we standing here, we're standing our ground. This is what it means to be in Minnesota. This is what it means to be American, helping each other.
With photojournalist Nick Boki, Adam Dexter.
Child, is he a tether? He sounded like he had an accent to me, child. Child, what do I know? Let me see what the hell is going on. Everybody got something to say. I know there was something that happened in not Minneapolis. Somebody did a mass last night, if not the night before. It's too much going on. It's too much going on. Child, they're just out here in the snow. They're out here in the cold.
The men with no shame. You're gonna help our oppressors, kidnap our neighbors. For $22.50 an hour, we sell our souls. Good job, Jeff.
Child, I'm not about to sit here all day and watch these people be out here just yelling dumb shit. But that's basically all the updates at this point, child. But we shall see if anything else happens since it is 12 o'clock. It's only 12 o'clock. I'm off. So should something else happen or something else to talk about? Actually, we do have something else to talk about, but I want to do it separate from this live stream. So maybe I'll come back this early afternoon and discuss that. But I got to get out the house right now. All right. And I got to get something to eat as always. But shout out to y'all for hanging in there. I see you. I appreciate you. Good, bad, and indifferent. Even the crazies. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the dislike button, subscribe if you're new. I don't give one damn which one it is. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. I see you all in